Now, I want to bring up some actual good news. Some good news that I think some of us who are real comedy fans will love. Shane Gillis just got tapped to host SNL. All right. Some of you guys may be wondering who Shane Gillis is. Shane Gillis is probably the next big comedian that you will see, the next Louis C.K. type, the next Dave Chappelle type, the next Bernie Mac, like one of those dudes. He's a white dude from Pennsylvania, came up in Philly. Hilarious. Hilarious. He grew up Republican. He's still a conservative guy, but he stands on his own. He stands on his business and he says his jokes, and those jokes are hitting, bro. I can't even front. They're hitting, they're good, they're solid. He even takes one of my boys, a good friend of mine, Lemaire Lee, out on the road with him as well. He props up a good amount of black comics, which you'd be surprised by because, thinking of his political leanings, but he's one of those dudes. He's one of those white dudes that's like, you ever know those like blue collar white dudes who are like racist, but they hang around black people and like actually know black people as people? He's like that, but famous. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I don't agree with all your views and shit like that. But at the same time, like, I fuck with you. And I fuck with your honesty and I fuck with your realism and the fact that you actually put yourself around people of color in a real way. But, onto bigger things is some of you may or may not know that Shane was originally cast on SNL. This is years ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Shane Gillis was cast on SNL. And before he even got to do his first performance, his casting got pulled and he was fired from the show because someone on the internet randomly found a audio clip about him on his podcast, talking about Asian people.
I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Get these ducks out of that window.
You know what? Yeah, true. Also, I'm always like, how can there be so many fucking restaurants down here?
All rest. Well, because
you go in, there's like one person eating ever.
fat white idiots like me are down there sucking down neuters.
It was taken out of context, but even taken out of context, it was still pretty rough. They got rid of him. They cut ties because that was also the first year that Bowen Yang, who is one of their major cast members now, Bowen Yang was also inducted into SNL that same year. So especially they had to get rid of him for then. But I think even if Bowen wasn't there, they still would have got rid of him. But the reason why I said that this is good news is because this is one of those things where, he was a guy I think that was kind of on the outs for a while. And this probably as a person definitely hurt his psyche, as an American, I think as a comedian as well, you want to make it to SNL. That's the Super Bowl, So to get there and then have it taken away does a lot to you. But the fact that like he's been so good at stand-up that even though they fired him, they have to call him back. That is the good news. That's the thing that I want people to take away, because we talk a lot about cancel culture here, whether or not it's real and this, that, and the third. And it is real. It is real. But there is an aspect of it that's also not. I mean, there's certain people who do things that are so heinous and so awful that they can't ever really come back, or if they do, it's in some small club, or it's some low budget Tubi movie that'll never really see the light of day. There's those people. You have the Kevin Spaceys, the Harvey Weinsteins and stuff like that. But for other people like Louis, or people like, maybe like Dustin Hoffman, who got in trouble for being a little bit inappropriate with a woman, like way back in the 80s. People like Shane Gillis as well. It exists and it doesn't exist. What it really is their life from then on, from that incident, will be determined by what their reaction to people's collective public shaming of them will be. That's really what it is. And it's like, it's real in the sense that, yeah, a bunch of dates are going to get canceled. A bunch of people are going to hate you. But those people already didn't really like you. Those people already didn't really listen to your stuff. Those people already didn't really listen to your podcast or anything. Anyway, and a lot of them kind of wanted you to fail even before this happened. One of them was the one who found the thing on the internet and was searching for something to get rid of you for. You see what I'm saying? So if you keep the mental fortitude and, you know, and the stoicism of life, and realize like, all right, right now, it's not cool to like me in any sort of way. But if I keep pushing, I keep working hard, I can break through. It will happen, especially if you already have a relatively big name. You know, Shane, you know, he had a huge podcast even when that happened. And I would say, as a conservative, I think it actually worked in his favor as a conservative guy. And I think if you asked him, I think he'd probably agree, because like, obviously you want to be on SNL, but right now we're in a different time in the world where like SNL doesn't really matter, dude. The only thing that really matters is your independence. You know what I mean? And having your own fan base. And while, you know, this trophy or this badge that he would have liked to get is not something that he can get, it gave him a bunch of other trophies and a bunch of other badges. And I think it made it even better. Now he has, I mean, even before he was going to be a rising star, but now he doesn't have to do SNL rehearsals, so he just only focuses on stand-up, and he has an incredibly strong stand-up act, an incredibly strong stand-up career, an incredibly strong following. And I think that's so much better than a show that came up in the 70s that you'll be on for 5 years, and you can kind of coast the rest of your career on it. You know, like, think about it. Like, you have people like Michael Che, who, you know, he's funny, he's a funny comic, but it's like, what has he really done? You know what I mean? Like, aside from being on SNL, like, what has he really done? I think that's another thing too. The Saturday Night Live specifically, I feel like it has this vibe sometimes where, you know, comedians can kind of coast on it because that's their relevance. Like, you see people either be on it and skyrocket, or be on it and kind of coast, and they're like, this will keep me relevant, and if I leave, I'll kind of disappear into obscurity. Like, even Pete Davidson, let's keep it a buck, bro. Like, he's popular, but the only thing that keeps him relevant is who he's fucking, not his comedy. He put up in that show Bupkis. It's like, who the fuck watched it? I didn't. I'm not saying that he's not a good comic, whatever. I actually don't. That's not true. I don't think he's funny, but it's my podcast. I'll be real. Who gives a shit? But like, you know, now that he's not on SNL, it's like, and he's not fucking Kim Kardashian, where is he going to go? What is the meaning of all those things? What is his career going to mean? You know, all it takes is one or two more flops, and people are going to stop checking for him as much, and that theater is going to get a lot more empty, and he's going to be downgraded to regular comedy clubs, and 10 years from now after that, it's going to be smaller comedy clubs, and, you know, he'll go the way of Joe Piscopo. What the fuck is that guy doing right now? You know? So these are the things that I think people need to realize, and I think Shane got really, really lucky. That being said, you know, Shane, he is a conservative guy, but he's also like a hip kind of conservative guy, which, like I said, like, he hangs out with like fucking black people and sees people as human beings, which a lot of incel, weird, neoconservative guys are not like. And I think the whole Asian comment thing probably gave him a surgence, a big wave of those guys. So that's a little tough, I think, in certain realms for him. But who the fuck knows? I don't know, man. This cancel culture shit is just, it's insane. It's really insane. I mean, and it comes for everybody. I think this is one of those things that you have to kind of just ride the wave out. Ride the wave out, and don't stop your level of consistency in the artistry that you're making. You know, it comes for everybody. Like, even Ayo Itebiri, you know, you guys may know her as playing the sous chef, or I don't know the girl's name, on The Bear, right, with Jeremy Allen White. That's a huge show right now. She's a comedian. She does stand-up. She does some improv. She was in a movie called Theater Camp that I heard was pretty good. She's like the sweet, nice black girl. They're trying to get her. She's going to host, you know, SNL, I think, this coming week. And somebody put out a little thing about her comments on some podcast about Jennifer Lopez, who's gonna be the musical guest.
She thinks she's on multiple tracks, but it's not her. Like, it will literally be Ashanti or Christina Milian or like another girl who sounds like her. Like, it's other people.
But is she collecting the royalties?
Yes.
Once they start attacking even the nice people and the good people, I think that's when you have to start realizing that it's all bullshit, man. And you can't really buy into all these things that people put right in front of you. You know, our world right now with the whole social media and constant videos and everything. It's all about hot takes. It's all about outrage. It's all about surprising you. It's all about keeping your eyeballs on the screen. And once you realize that their thing isn't to actually inform you, their objective is to keep you watching, then you realize that it's all bullshit, and your shackles start to loosen a little bit. You start to get a little bit more informed and a little bit more understanding. So, guys, just remember, don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you see. Believe me, your host of the False Prophets podcast. This has been False Prophets. We'll see you later. Peace.